I remember very well my first days as medical director of quality improvement at my hospital. And I was, certainly wet behind the ears and green as can be. And I read a few books, and I got a little, I went to a course Don Berwick taught. It was all good. I mean, I was ready to go. And I went out to talk to my friends and colleagues in the hospital about how we were going to together improve care of their patients. And I went to the radiology department. And there was a crusty senior radiologist there who is the best radiologist I know. You give him a chest x-ray and he will teach you like you've never been taught before, and you'll go away understanding what that patient really has. So I went into the office and we're sitting there, and there he is sitting across from me. And I'm figuring this is going to be a great conversation. I said, so I'm the medical director of quality improvement, and I'm here to help you. And he interrupts me and uses words which were on camera. I can't use these words actually, but they were four-letter words. And he basically said that quality improvement was a bunch of, and I was wasting his blah, blah, blah time. And I'm sitting there saying, wow, you really have feelings about this. And I won't use the actual language I use with him, but I said, since we're talking this way, I said, what really, when you get up in the morning and come to this hospital and you walk in this door, what ticks you off? And he said, well, what really blah, blah, blah ticks me off is the emergency room. The emergency room sends me children with head trauma for a CT scan of the head. And I get one line on the requisition that says, CT of the head trauma. He said, I am a clinical person. I went to medical school. I was trained. I am actually capable of not just technically reading a scan, but I know something about medicine. And in fact, I'll read the scan a lot better if I know something about the patient. I said, well, that's a reasonable request, right? I mean, he wants information. So then my next visit, coincidentally, was to the emergency department. And there was a colleague, a friend, somebody I like and trust. Almost the same reaction. Didn't use quite the same level of language that I'd experienced in radiology, but basically he said, what ticks you off? He said, it's the radiology department. We have kids here, they're screaming and crying, the mother's anxious, they need a CT of the head, and we get all these questions and delays, and why can't we just get our CT done and read? I said, whoa, it sounds like there's a quality improvement problem here around communication and process. So with the help of a volunteer who was a visiting scholar and the people from both departments, we devised a new system where the requisition for a CT scan had all of the criteria in a checklist. This is before the checklist that you've all read about in Peter Pronovost's checklist. I mean, it's obvious. Checklists are useful. And so the checklist was all the criteria for a head CT in a child. And if you check these off and it didn't meet the criteria, then you're wasting your time getting a CT. And the CT reader will then be able to look at the checklist and say, well, this looks like a really high-risk case, or no, this is kind of an iffy, but I see why they did it. And they get the clinical information they need. We ended up just writing this up. It wasn't in a high-profile journal, but it was a interdepartmental, interdisciplinary paper, got published. Everybody was happy, and the checklist made care better. So that's really important. I think there's some real lessons there. Where are the pain points? Get people to express them, and then immediately go out and help them find a solution instead of putting it in a desk drawer someplace and saying, that's another complaint from that department. They always complain.